Hello there, and welcome to Thank the Maker, a podcast about heroes, princesses, scoundrels, hokey religions, ancient weapons, and all things Star Wars. I'm Adam Russell.
Hey, I'm Nick Gambarian.
I am feeling like Neil, sitting around in my parents' house.
I just saw a picture of Discord with someone put Neil's face over my body.
Nice.
It's amazing.
It's very
amazing.
Good. I like it. Hey, it's Mike
I don't believe you because you're not in a bubble bath.
I know, that's what I was thinking. Well, I was thinking like I'm doing things and then I really just want to go out and do adventures with my friends, maybe begrudgingly, maybe not. Happy holidays.
Happy
To those who
holidays.
celebrate. We did it. We got through it. Did you guys get anything Star Wars related? Because once you wear this big of a target on yourself, as far as your personality goes, everyone knows that Star Wars gifts are safe to gift at any point, right?
I did. Did Star Wars gifts.
You didn't? Okay. So Adam did not.
Wow.
Desi got me a throwback to 1996 Millennium Falcon Hallmark ornament. So that's great. That's 2 years in a row. She got me a throwback ornament. And then also she got me, I'm missing 2 of the original run Burger King glasses.
Okay.
And the 2 that I'm missing are the ones. Well, all of them. There's A New Hope, Empire, and Jedi. There's 4 glasses for each movie. Yeah.
Wow.
So they're not really that hard to find, and you could get them for money you'd want to spend, but 2 of them in particular go for some money. And it's because Boba Fett is on one of them.
Sure.
On an Empire glass. And then I'm missing the one with Han and Chewie from A New Hope. So I'm down to 1 that I need right now.
Dude, I might have one of those.
Okay.
I'll look through my stuff and see if I can.
Han and Chewie, A New Hope one. That's the one I'm missing. And then I have all of the fine china from Burger King.
Sure. Nice. The finest china. So you're putting it out there into the atmosphere for people who are going to listen.
It's not hard to find. It's just more what you want to spend on it, you know? And they're not like super expensive, but whatever. Do I want to spend even $50 on a glass, you know?
Sure.
Who knows? But okay, so how about this? I woke up today. So people have been getting the shipping notifications for the HasLab Ghost, which went on sale 16 months ago. We all put our down payment, or we all paid for this September 23, and it said 14-month turnaround, and people are starting to get them now, which is 16 months. There was a million different versions of people had a label printed with no shipping, no tracking number. People had a tracking number and it was in motion. People had nothing. I was one of the people who had nothing. I had not one piece of evidence that this thing was coming to me anytime soon. I woke up today. A tracking number said it'll be here on December 27th, which is tomorrow.
Oh my gosh.
And 2 hours later, it was on my doorstep.
Oh, sick.
And the thing is
nothing makes sense. It's huge.
Nothing.
It's so big.
Yeah, it's so big. I actually have no room for it. Like zero room. I'm gonna ask if I could store it somewhere at someone's house.
So what we're getting from this is, if you're feeling extra charitable from the holidays, buy Nick these cups and also store his giant oversized vintage collection, the Ghost. These are simple asks, guys. You know what I mean? These are simple asks.
One day when I have a real house with real space, I have the Razor Crest and now the Ghost that I will do an unboxing like years later.
All you need is an average of about $900,000 to get that house.
It's happening.
Right.
Maybe if I sell them, if I sell the Ghost and the Razor Crest,
you could afford to buy a couple of pieces of luxury vinyl plank. So we got probably let's talk about this real quick, because
talk about Star Wars.
We are here to talk about this.
Skeleton.
All of that was related. Was this kind of a sneaky like top 10 episode of Star Wars that we just got?
I thought it was incredible.
Like, where did this come from?
I hear everyone saying it's their favorite episode of Skeleton Crew so far.
Yeah.
I might agree.
It was just another one of those where I'm like, is this a movie? Am I watching a movie?
Exactly.
Right?
Right.
It's the kind of thing where like you could probably go from like the premiere and episode 3 straight into this, consolidate a few things, you know, and you could make make a movie out of this where this is a key turn, obviously. You know what I mean? And I thought it was incredibly cinematic as well. The acting was great. It had enough kind of goofy, fun, lighthearted Star Wars stuff with emotional stuff, turns, betrayals, all the kind of good shit. I thought it was great. Loved it.
I mean, there is a part of me that goes, I guess I'm like a little worn down on in terms of the inconsistency of what our Star Wars shows have been, right? So when I saw 43 minutes, when I automatically pause it, I was like, I'm treading lightly here, but I'm feeling cautiously optimistic. This was one show that I as we got to a point, this episode in particular, I knew we were going to end on a cliffhanger at some point because I'm sitting here going, there's 2 minutes left, and I'm like, whoa, we are getting to the meat of what Jod is up to. Like immediate reactions from all of you was, were you frustrated? Were you excited to, like, I mean, how do you feel after that when, first of all, the betrayal that I
Excitedly
think
frustrated.
we all sure,
right?
yeah, that makes sense.
Well, you're talking about the very end?
Well, I'm just talking about like the immediate reaction of us going, okay, we know that I think everyone who is paying attention was going, he's a suspicious character. They've only alluded to it in every single episode. For him to actually kind of have his moment, to Adam's bingo point, the triple cross, right? We knew that this was setting up for that, but at some point we kind of wanted to see how spectacular.
We're almost there for a triple cross.
We're almost there. So
here's the thing that we need to discuss that when we get to it, because Nick, that was yours, I think.
Oh,
triple cross was mine, yes.
And
nice.
technically, the definition of triple cross is you double cross someone, you backstab them, you turn back, you redeem yourself, you think it's all good, and then you do another betrayal.
So are we a third of the way? Is this the
I think
first?
we're a double stampy Antiquitsy at this point.
I think we're halfway there.
Right over
even though it's a triple cross.
Yeah.
There are only two parts, because the first half of it is the double cross. The second half makes it a triple cross. So you're a good guy. You backstab them. Double crossed you. You redeem yourself and then do it again. That becomes a triple cross. So is that what you intended, or were you saying he was just going to double cross and then redeem?
What did I mean? What did I mean, Nick?
What did I even mean?
Nick, what did I mean?
Oh, Nick from 4 weeks ago. Gosh.
Yeah.
Anyone in the patrons, if you remember, or if you want to go back and reference.
I guess maybe, would that technically be, was I wrong with saying a triple cross? Did I just think double cross? Because I think he was going to gain their trust, double cross them, which is what he just did. No, triple cross would be right. So and then he's going to come back.
But then betray them again?
No.
Does
the gaining of the trust equal the first cross?
Technically, he also crossed the pirates by giving them an acid bath too. You know what I mean? Like,
he was. I guess I meant more with him and the kids.
Well, sure. I'm with that, but like,
he wasn't on good terms with the pirates at that point, so you can't double cross if you aren't on good terms to start. Right? So you're on good terms, you backstab, and then
what is making me feel good about this is that we don't know exactly how triple crossing works, and that means that we're all decent people.
Yes.
Right? Because like, if someone was to be like, listen, to double cross when you do this triple cross, you'd be like, that guy's triple cross people. Stay away from that guy. I mean, let's I don't know, let's go to the beginning. Let's talk about this.
Let's talk about it. So we pick up right where we left off, where they shut down SM-33 because he went into, they unlocked his old memories, and he remembered the orders he had been given by the former captain, which were very what am I thinking? It reminds me of Back to the Future 2, when old Biff says, he told me one more thing. You said one day if an old man or a smart ass little kid comes asking around, and then he pulls out the gun, right?
Sure.
It's that kind of thing with the kids. But then when they wake him up, they tie him down with all these ropes, and that also reminded me of Pineapple Express when they taped Danny McBride. They duct taped him down to his chair. And they wake up, and he's like, "What's up, dudes?" Oh, flex
with a broken neck.
Yeah. So they wake him up, and then he's just like, "Oh, that was the old captain's orders. Never mind." Did that rub you guys a little bit too? Were you a little confused by that?
I don't remember being confused. But what exactly? Like what parts rubbing you?
Well, because he was once Fern reminded him of his, or had him, do a memory override and go back before he had been told to forget everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He remembered everything about At-Atten, including the final orders from the captain. And if anyone asks about it, kill them.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's when they shut him down. So when they woke him up, he's like, "Oh, those were the old orders anyway."
Yeah.
Now she's the new captain.
He also did say Akron was messing with the circuits.
Okay.
So I'm like, is there something in here where like he knows that he's been shut down? It's almost like he's like restarted. You know what I mean? Like they unplugged him and plugged him back in. There was a part of me that almost like wanted to. It's kind of the same. I kind of felt a little bit like Night of a Thousand Tears, where like I was kind of like it would have been sweet to get some sort of shadowy flashback or something, which I know wouldn't have been very Star Wars for them to do that. Because if you think of like Obi-Wan going, "Oh, your father and I, blah blah blah," like if we would have got flashbacks, that would have kind of given stuff away. So I understand that this like these conversations where they go back and they talk about this this monologue, you're just supposed to be in the moment, like you're there listening. Not it's more tell, not show. That was the only part that I was kind of like, this actually sounds super epic. I would have loved to see that, but I know it's not Star Wars to do that. So
yeah,
I was fine with it in that regard. But yeah, it did seem like a lot of information confirmed a lot of theories, and it happened very quick and at the beginning of the episode.
For sure. Speaking of a lot of information, all at the beginning of the episode, we forgot to do Stolen Plans. You guys want to do that now?
Yeah.
And Nick, I also forgot that you were doing it before for a little while.
Let's do it.
You want to do it?
Let's me do it, Nick.
Sick.
What have you done with those plans?
Star Wars Skeleton Crew. What was this one called? You have a lot to learn about pirates. I like that. That line came into play pretty hardcore in here. Disney Plus description: a seemingly pleasant world will test our heroes like no other. The runtime was 46 minutes. Directed by Jake Schreier, directed season 2 premiere of Dave. Love that show. I'm Dave. A bunch of pop and hip hop music videos from Benny Blanco, also in Dave, Selena, and Kanye West. Pretty cool.
Not Selena, sorry, Selena Gomez.
Selena Gomez. Okay,
yeah,
that
not
makes
Selena.
sense.
Rest in peace.
Time-wise. Written by Christopher Ford, who is the writer of one episode of High Potential. What is that? Oh, with Caitlin Olsen's new show. I like that. That's
Sweet
cool.
D, new show.
Yep. And Death and Other Details on Hulu. I haven't seen that one. But Christopher Ford's one of the showrunners, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's one of those dudes.
Jake is also directing the upcoming Thunderbolts Marvel movie.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
And we have 2 guest stars in here. Julie Ann Emery as the hotelier. She was on 5 episodes of Better Call Saul. And Kelly MacDonald as the Pocket, the voice of Merida in Brave is how you might know her.
Pocket.
And if you were a fan of Danny Boyle's actor, Ewan McGregor, in one of his first movies, Train Spotting, she played Diane, Spud's girlfriend.
Nice.
Who has a great, she's so incredibly Scottish. It's hard to miss her.
Yeah. Yep. Notice her name is spelled MacDonald also.
Right.
No messing around with this MC.
That's how you know it's legit.
Yeah. Hey, is anyone else out there a language nerd? And if so, did you notice or think about the fact that the line and the title, you have a lot to learn about pirates, spoken by a British person? If it was more English, the Queen's English, more British English and grammar, they would probably say, you've got a lot to learn about pirates. Yeah? In my head, when I was trying to remember and I was typing it down from memory, that's how I typed it. And I went back and I saw it. And I was like, oh, written by an American person. Okay, moving
on. Let's talk about Pocket for a second. Do we have an identification on the alien species?
I don't know. But Alex from Star Wars Explained said she reminded him of somebody from a comic. Well, I was thinking maybe Asajj, like for the split second before she started speaking. Or Aurra Sing, yeah. But obviously she's a new character. But
sure,
it could be, talking about aliases and bounty hunters and all that kind of stuff. It maybe could be this one character from a comic that Alex was talking about. I don't remember what it was, but had a similar braid kind of situation.
Sure.
Anybody in the Discord chat, if you saw that or if you can think of it, let us know.
Yeah.
This, you want to talk about her for a minute? What do you think? What do you think that? I mean, what does this mean for the chances of Hondo? Number one, and number two.
Do you feel like we're running out of chances for Hondo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I would expect more. I don't want Hondo to play like a role like Pocket. If Hondo was going to be in it, I would have wanted him to be reoccurring, which that's possible with 3 episodes to go. But I would have liked a character like that to have an impact.
Yeah,
sure. I understand the logic in the worry, Adam. I think in some ways, like we still need to see a big showdown with Brutus. I think the kids have to figure out how to get. We're basically we're spending at least half an episode at this. What's the name of this planet again? It's very nice.
With an L, it's called
Latvia or something.
Latuda. That's a medication.
Lunesta. Hail Lunesta.
It's Lanupa, right?
Lanupa.
Yeah. Lanupa.
It goes by many names.
I
like how one of them was Battle World.
Battle World.
The Demon's Rest.
Yeah, right. I think that we're going to spend at least half of next episode in Lanupa escaping. Brutus.
Well, there's stuff from the trailer where you see the X-wings come overhead, the pirates.
Yes.
So the pirates aren't dead.
Right.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah, I'm sure some of them survived. I don't know.
Of them are. So definitely, I think we could. Yeah, it's entirely. I still think is there a move to connect this to a second season? It seems to be well received. Are we still thinking that we're far off in this galaxy? Are we going to pass Peridia? I know that we're not supposed to tie any of this stuff in, but like we are supposed to be going somewhere. Eventually we're going to get home, but I'm with you. We're getting with basically an hour and a half roughly left of storytelling. What do we do? Where are we going?
I don't know. Well, let's go to the top of the episode. The parents are searching for the kids. Wim's dad gets caught hacking at work with Neil's mom's help. This little device, which is basically a shitty-looking flash drive that she gives him to plug in. They get caught. Fern's mom covers for them because she's in the government. That's kind of all we get from them. And that covers all of the remaining footage in the trailer, but they're going to have to come home. No, there is some chase stuff happening.
Yeah.
And there's also with the parents in terms of what's in the trailer.
Yeah, they have Wendell on the speeders with the kids.
That's right.
Like they're escaping from the droids or something. And we have the big... the crab.
The crab, which we would assume is on some other planet.
or is it on Battle World off Casino?
Right,
Off
right,
Spa.
yeah.
Right.
Okay.
The kids get ejected probably into something, and it's almost like they go down a sewer or something. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's so much to cover. Another planet wouldn't make sense.
Right.
Just
They get
time-wise.
picked up. They get picked up by Hondo. Hello, my friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Or Hondo shows up. He's on a bounty hunter.
Nah.
But
he makes
since there's a
treasure.
bounty out on their heads, he might show up.
Right.
He might.
Din Djarin shows up with the new Razor Crest, the Taser Crest.
Could be.
Right.
They don't need it, but it could be.
It could be.
Like Joe doesn't need it.
No.
Woo woo. Yeah. So I think this, but
Mandalorian and Grogu come in December 2026 or May 2026. All right. See you later.
Right. No, I think we, going from, first of all, we see that the parents are fed up with this, the lack of, I would say, accountability from
this galactic bullshit.
Yeah, getting off track, right? And then for us to immediately jump into the brig with the kids and they're getting the story, and then I think this really beautiful moment of Wim and Jod, which at this point are we just now saying, like, are we finally admitting Jod is force sensitive and at one point was trained by the Jedi? I mean,
hey.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait a second. So I watched this episode twice.
Okay.
When he force pulls that knife is sort of wobbly.
Uh-huh.
I felt like that was kind of strange.
When Luke pulls the saber out, it's janky too.
So here's my thought. He was a Padawan, maybe an Order 66 survivor, very limited force training, but definitely some fundamentals, because he quotes the Jedi when he's talking to Wim. Your focus determines your reality.
Yeah.
But he wasn't old enough to know, unless this was a where does the Qui-Gon quote come from? You know what I mean?
I mean, that just could be, Jedi
just
101.
Just a saying. Yeah, I'm with that. I think in some ways the idea of, I hear the groans of people going, God, Order 66, every time another Jedi survives, it's not, waters it down. I'm still here going, there are plenty of other people, Jedi outside of Coruscant, that were training people, that were understanding their force sensitive people. So I think in some regards, I would prefer if he actually is a former Jedi or an apprentice or someone. I mean, he knew what the lightsaber was. He knew that it's dangerous. I think for a lot of smugglers, they don't know. I mean, think about it from this perspective, right? Like, people didn't know what a lightsaber was. I mean, even in the cantina, like Obi-Wan cut someone's arm off and they were like, well, that was a cool trick. But it wasn't like people were like, dude, that's a Jedi. That's a Jedi, like, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Well, there's only 28 years from Order 66 to this. This is a 50-something-year-old dude in real life, right?
Yeah. And there were a lot of things that are a lot of people did in the 80s that did not make it to present day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Jude Law's 51.
Sure. Yeah. So I don't know. I think if he was a Jedi, or at least at some point, I mean, I think that's what they're kind of leading up to, is that the idea that the Jedi were not. There's a parallel there between Wim aspirationally looking towards the Jedi, as if they are what he believes this to be, this uncorruptible force, which is actually what also led to their downfall, because they too believed that. You know what I mean? Where, like, you look at the reality of being like, you know what I mean? Like we're looking for the reality of people writing stories about King Arthur or writing stories about any of these, I mean, the Steve Jobs effect, right? Of going, amazing leader. I'm talking to you from one of his products right now, but there were so many people underneath him that were like, I don't want to work for that guy anymore. And I'm actually way more important than Steve Jobs was in terms because I'm a engineer.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think that there's a decent chance that he was trained to some degree, and like you're saying, it was like, screw this, I can do this my own way, and then was just completely disillusioned, and then went off into the galaxy and just had to deal with what he had to deal with, became a pirate, and
right.
He retained some of those skills and some of those, like the shadows of some of those concepts and philosophies, but he is who he is now.
Right. Well, it's kind of it almost reminds me a little bit of like Star-Lord and Yondu,
Yes.
right? Where
Yes.
like he doesn't realize that he's like has a bigger purpose or he has abilities, but like he's just raised around Ravagers and like I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, that makes sense. What else? Speaking of him being that guy, we're up to 4 names now. Dash Zenton is what Pocket calls him. Dash Zenton, Captain Silvo, Crimson Jack, Jadna Nonwood. What's his real name going to be? Are we going to find out? It would be more fun if that was a mystery.
It's Jude Law. Dash, I think wasn't
there another Jod? Wasn't there another Jod name in there too that wasn't Jadna Nonwood?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think one of the security guards when they were kind of just. I think there might be a lot more than these names actually. One of the security guards was like
professor's name.
Yeah,
the professor's name was
remember
that he gave
saw on
them.
the screen.
Like, but I think when they were chasing him, they said like maybe 2 other names also.
Patrons in the chat, if you can think of that, let us know.
And I think one of them was Jod something. Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
Physics Buddy Joe in the patron chat.
Yeah, Jodwick, that's what it was.
Jodwick Zank. Putting it down. Also, on this Force thing, when he gives Wim that pep talk and says, your focus determines your reality, and then he force lifts his, data pad, whatever, to him. And then I forgot exactly what the response is, or you really are a Jedi, or something like that. I forgot what it was. I don't know if you said that, but right when he says it, you hear the first 2 notes of the Force theme, and then it goes to a very out-of-key dissonant note. It's very foreboding. You know what I mean? And I think all that kind of lends a little credence to the idea that he did have some training, but he went a different path. Like if you think about that music theory-wise, you're in the melody, and then you move away from the melody to a dark note that doesn't follow what you expect. You're telling a story there with those notes.
Right. Well, and also too, I've also noticed that Jod only uses the Force with his right hand, which makes me think maybe. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say that's as hokey as a, I don't want to go as hokey as to going back to like the Obi-Wan of like he's got a magnet glove or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. The show does details incredibly well, and I think we're gonna keep questioning more as it goes on.
Keep an eye on that.
He's used it in too many different contexts for it to
be,
you know what I mean?
Because I'm thinking magnet, but then there was a couple of different things. Like he flipped off a switch at one point, right? Like that's so specific. But that wobbly knife, I don't know.
And sketchy. The way he got it was so far away from him there. Why would he waste that trick in that moment? He'd walk by it and snatch it from a short distance. But if he can force pull it,
it's way cooler.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the Onyx Cinder we hear by name in this. Finally, this is kind of this is the Millennium Falcon kind of moment for Jod, and he talks about it was it was captained by Captain Renaud, the most infamous pirate in the galaxy's ever known. Story was that he was after the AT-AT and treasure aboard the ship, and then he just disappeared, crew and all, blah blah blah. But then later, there's this great like storytelling moment with the kids all sitting around campfire style with SM-33, and he tells the whole story of how it happened and talks about the the captain's concubine who betrayed him. And then Neil's like, "What's a concubine?" That's enough story time.
I thought we were getting a flashback there. There was something about the way the camera was like kind of slow zoom. I was like, I was like ready for it to just kind of see that, maybe that last scene of a
little blurry wave.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't get like a lot of depth there, or like we don't get a lot of questions answered, rather. And then when we finally do see the captain, the holo in the treasure room that they finally get to, we don't. It's just more questions. You know what I mean?
The captain is definitely someone freeze framed the captain.
Yeah.
And despite his distorted effect, the captain is definitely a weak way.
Dude, okay. What if
it's Vane? What if it's Hondo?
If it was Hondo.
But
did we already say that? He's not.
But wouldn't this be time-wise, like, way in the past?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
It's Hondo's dad.
It's
Wando.
Please. My
Wando.
father.
Wando.
My father was Mr. Onaka. Please call me.
Yeah. He finds Jod. You killed my father. Prepare to
die. So this planet, it's this great comedy how they, SM builds it up, and then it ends up just being like a spa planet, basically. And they built this whole spa right on top of the buried treasure, this treasure room, whatever. Did you notice, I had this in the Den of Antiquities, but it's pointless because there's nothing there. The runes, the writing on the cliff wall that Jod's like, you need to translate this. I thought that was the ancient Sith alphabet.
It's Jedi.
Right? Well, canonically, that's Sith. Unless there's a Jedi and a Sith one, and they both have the same format, but they're different letters. Because
in Galaxy's Edge, that is Jedi. That's ancient Jedi.
And then in The Rise of Skywalker, there's stuff like that on the knife. It's a messy alphabet. We don't officially know what it says. Right. So on Wikipedia, like a lot of the letters overlap. So, it could be the kind of thing, it's something, like French and Italian and Portuguese and Spanish. They're adjacent, similar alphabets, stuff like that. But it's all gibberish on the wall. Like
I know. When I saw that screen grab when they released it early, I tried so hard to translate it, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Frustrating.
Maybe
it's
like
the
20%.
gibberish they were speaking when they got off the when they get off the ship.
Sure.
Yeah, that's the language of what's her name in Wedding Crashers. How much more do you want to talk about this? The situation with the treasure. Aside from seeing the lightsaber there, is there anything in there that gave you guys any clues?
Well, like this again.
Aside from the Weequay's head.
Yeah, the Weequay's head. That's pretty big. If we're going to talk about the actual captain being Weequay, nothing stuck out to me. Has anyone named that lightsaber? Like, is that anyone in particular's favorite?
According to Jason, they were having a discussion about it as it was happening, and Jason was like, "I've never seen it before." So it does have kind of a Temple Guard kind of a vibe. The white and the gold, very sick. It's a very sweet lightsaber. So it makes
a little High Republic vibe too, but it's not as.
That's thick. What I was thinking. Yeah, and then of course the fact that they did outright mention that At-Aten is an old Republic, capital O, Republic mint. So
just like exactly like you said.
Right. So so it makes me think that the banking clan has said we know what it does, but it just keeps printing money, and we like that, and that's why no one messes with it. And if the droids are still working, then we just let this thing, the money machine, go. Brrr. So I have a feeling it's interesting because Jod was throwing those old Republic credits, who was passing those along as kind of like a under the table kind of a thing, and she was just eating them up. So it's like I'm trying to draw a connection between going like the galaxy is poor right now, and this everyone is wigging out over these data rees. So it makes me think that like At-Aten truly has, this is like finding a bond from 1905, each of these pieces. You know what I mean? That's worth a ton of money. But it was nice to hear that officially what At-Aten was supposed to be, which makes sense as to why it's the perfect, that's why it's hidden, is because if you knew where the money was being made, and in regards to going the treasure, the whole planet is the treasure because it can literally make money. So makes me kind of feel like, interesting.
Yeah, and then the question is, what happened to the rest of the planets? If even, Captain Renaud knows this as the last Old Republic mint, it had to have been hidden way back when that happened with him. So anything we talked about, well, I mean, maybe it does go all the way back to the Nihil and all that in the High Republic in terms of the entire system. All these what would you call each of those planets? They're each called
jewels of the Old Republic.
Jewels,
right?
Yeah. That could all be, everything there could be well over 100 years old. Like the state of things could be well over 100 years old.
Right. I think there is going to be something that we're going to get into of going that there's this is Santeca money. The Santecas were one of the oldest, richest families in the galaxies, and a large of that was because they controlled hyperspace routes. So I think that we are going to find, whether it's their coordinates or fast travel or something along these lines, though, like it wouldn't surprise me to get some mention of Peridia. It wouldn't surprise me to get some mention of Exegol or some other planet that's supposed to be out there, because this information, we do get all of this information, right? We do. We do. I want to say that the story is going to be standalone enough, but I do think we're at a point where we're going to get something for them just to go back to At-Aten and have it end. I don't think they're going to end on At-Aten. I think At-Aten's going to get found. I think there's going to be some kind of attack on At-Aten, and it's going to fall as we know it, or something along those lines. Because I just can't see at this point 3 episodes left of going like the kids return home and like everything's great. We live in our mysterious unknown planet. Like I can't see it.
Yeah, the seal is broken. And these kids are so good. Everyone involved with making this show knows what they made. Like, we're going to watch these kids grow up. If we don't, something has gone terribly wrong. They're too good. The story's too intriguing. It's too linked to too many potential other things, the way it's linked back to the Old Republic and the way it can set up the New Republic and all the sequel trilogy stuff. I don't know. It is a treasure itself. Why not exploit it? I don't know. I'm feeling like, I know it's the obvious comparison, but Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Like,
which
the way that ended, it just opened up a bunch of other possibilities.
Yeah.
Season 1.
Yeah. Well, it seems like based on some of the other, let's do bingo. I mean, first of all, let's do bingo. Let's get this done, and then let's talk a little bit at the end about some other information that came out this week.
Well, do you want to do Den of Antiquities? It's limited. You want to do that, Mike?
I don't have it open.
Oh.
So you just
you want to do bingo first, then, and then we'll do the den.
Yeah, let me try to get it.
Let's do the bingoing. Let's bingo something up real good. All right, last week we missed some things. We didn't realize that we actually got more than we thought. So the did we mention this the surprise cameo? Yeah, we reviewed this. So here's the updated one as of last week, and then this week we get the Hutts and a legit lightsaber scene. So if only we could get a last final scene. They're back in school, they're back in their desks, and they're learning about all this updated information.
So close.
Learning about the Galactic Civil War. We could actually hit bingo. I think this is more hits total than any of us individually have had, right?
Probably. I don't remember being that close, yeah.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Physics Buddy Joe in the patron chat, are you giving us? No, we don't get credit for that shit. Kids learn about the Galactic Civil War in school. Somebody mentioned them not learning about it. Very generous, but I don't know.
If the word school wasn't in there, then we could kind of be like, okay. But specifically, the spirit of that, I think, is them learning it at a desk with the teacher, right?
Yeah. The patrons do have their own card, though. They get a hit for the kids' home. The kids' home planet is a prison/cult. Close enough. We will agree. Celebrity cameo, got that. Direct Goonies reference, got that. In-universe candy. There's some candy, yes. Jadinawood is not his real name. They got that. They're kind of clustered all in one section of their card. But one of the kids is force sensitive in Peridea universe mentioned. You could go straight down and hit that. That's possible. All right. Good luck to us all. May the force be with us all. Mike, how about that Den of Antiquities? Got it?
Well, my parents are trying as hard as they can to get this good internet up. But we are ready. Let's do this. Let's do the Den of Antiquities. Hit
ready
that bumper, Adam. I want to hear it.
For over 1,000 generations.
It is the dark saber.
Torgon, Togosh.
It's a Kalikori.
A Sith wayfinder.
Dark science. Cloning. Secrets only the Sith knew.
The Den of Antiquities, though a little bit more shallow than we are giving ourselves time to research, still a lot of good ones in here. I really do like it. First of all, the Muns are taking a mud bath. The banking clan seen a ton in Clone Wars, and I think for a lot of people who are wondering, like the Muns themselves, that's also the species of Dark Plagueis.
Darth. Did you say dark?
I thought I said Darth, but maybe it sounded like I said dark. So anyways, there you go. You want to see the guy at the end of Acolyte coming out? He did not had his mud bath yet. That's why it looked like that. So there we go.
So haggard.
Taking care of it. Also in the mud bath, the Trogloff serving the Hutt. Now, the question that we're going to ask ourselves, is this the same Hutt as one of the twins from Book of Boba Fett? He got the little thing. I think the symbol's different. The coloring's a little different, but he is in a mud bath. But I think his symbol's different, but he does have a tattoo below his chin.
Are those supposed to be tattoos or like paint?
I mean,
do we know?
Jabba, I think they're tattoos or their birthmarks or something, because Jabba has his symbol like on his arm.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So it kind of makes me think they're tattoos.
Right.
I like it. So I guess we could talk about that. We deliberate over that. But the Trogloff were first seen in the Canto Bight scene of The Last Jedi as the craps table dealer. You have a shot of that, Adam?
I don't have a shot of that.
Of The Last Jedi. All right, go back and watch it. It's great.
Yeah, check out
I think for a lot of people, we did know we're noticing the booby trap sequences for Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade. The idea, I would say, well, booby traps. Are we thinking Last Crusade? Or are we thinking more?
For me, it was the head chop off situation
Sure.
Seeing the heads of the skeletons with the heads removed, and then
Right.
how the one pirate, right? It's when the pirates show up, or maybe it's, I don't remember the exact shot, but like the idea is that one of them is walking up knowing that there's a potential to get their head chopped off and having no idea how to avoid
Oh
it.
yeah, it's the security guard, right?
Security, yeah.
He throws the rock.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they match the shot, the framing, everything.
Sure. That
It's
would be
really,
a very
really good.
Luke. Yeah, because I'm thinking, of course, whenever I think booby traps, I think Raiders, but no, this I'm with that. I like that. And Jod also quotes the Jedi, Qui-Gon Jinn, remember your focus determines your reality. I think for people who are going, why does that sound so familiar? Yes, it was. And the runes on the cliff wall, as we said, they don't say anything. They look cool as hell. They don't say anything though. One interesting point that we didn't talk about though is that KB was like, I can't go down in the mud pits. And Fern is like, why are you going to rust or something? And if you remember
corrosion, right?
Corrosion, yeah, you're worried your parts are going to get corrosion. So it makes me think that she is not a full on Book of Boba Fett modifier, but certainly prosthetically enhanced or prosthetically helped. Her parents are both like, when they realize that she's gone with them, they're like, she's sick, she needs medicine, blah blah blah. So like she definitely, I wonder if that's going to be a part of it. Like, you kind of have the kid classic like 80s trope, the kid has an asthma attack. We saw it in the movie Signs. It becomes like a part where like they have to stop what they're doing and focus on saving their friend. So like I thought that was kind of I thought that was a little bit of a like, hang on, let's get this information out there. I thought that was interesting. So
you
something to think
we'd
about.
get a little bit more though if that was really going to be a thing. You'd think there'd be like an ongoing, like she'd be checking some stats in her headset or some crap about, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And I love that. Dan Kramer over on YouTube goes, Mikey and the Goonies had asthma, right? He shakes the, so I thought, I mean, that's kind of a good, I don't know. We've seen this before. I love the fact that it's a pretty high tech planet, and is no match for a wrench.
Right.
Love that. You know what I mean? I love that. And shout out to our friend, John Rodriguez, Alpha Ignition, for actually being one of the Mon Cala.
How cool is that?
That's the other hit we got.
That's it. We know someone who's in the show. I figured someone was going to be in it because I saw a lot. I was looking for a lot of people in the cameos. There's a lot of like unmasked characters in this episode.
Yeah.
And I was thinking one of the security guards was going to be someone we knew. So anyways, it's pretty good.
One of those security guards looked a lot like Ryan Reynolds. Not Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
That would have been a sneaky thing to just throw in the back, like a non-speaking one. It was kind of funny.
Yeah. Pretty good.
So, Mike, you said there were some other things you wanted that we learned this week. You want to talk about?
Well, I just think as we're kind of starting to wrap up here, I think what's been interesting is to find out that there was a very interesting interview with some Disney executive who seemed to go kind of off the rails in terms of his conversation, right? So there were plans for 3 seasons of Acolyte. They ultimately said from his lips to Mickey Mouse's ears that the Acolyte just did not perform based on the cost. And so I think that takes out a lot of steam for some people who are very spicy about going, oh, the themes, it wasn't done well, blah, blah, blah. I think they just literally were like, it did not have the viewership for the cost. On the contrary, Andor season 2 will be the most expensive thing that they have ever made.
Well,
whopping 25-ish million per episode, which is pretty crazy considering. But that still puts it on track with shows like Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. So I think there's a combination of, and now, when we talked about it, and please do watch on our breakdown of the Acolyte, viewership for Andor was still not gangbusters. It was not even close to Mandalorian level. It was not even close to even Obi-Wan. So it's an interesting play at this point given how that it was responded to and reviewed very well. What will be interesting here in the next 3 weeks is when we start to see if Skeleton Crew starts to increase viewership now that the word is out that it's good and people are excited about it. I have actually been pleasantly relieved to see that people, even some of the crustiest corners of the internet in regards to Star Wars, are very happy with
sections. The comment sections are weird because there's almost no negative.
Right.
It's crazy.
You know, and like not that I'm scouring, but if it pops up on my feed, I'll just do a quick scroll. You know, and there'll be like one person who's just like, nope. I'm like, they don't even have like a review of it. You know, they don't hate anything. They're just saying no. But yeah, it's surprisingly real positive out there.
Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see where we go with this, because I have to imagine in the next week or two, we will hear if there's going to be a season 2. I'm sure the reception is playing something into it, but it's just a difficult thing because now from here, this is where we go with kind of the Star Wars issue. I mean, they've had 2 very hard slots, Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve for viewership. So I can't imagine that the numbers when they come out are not going to look poor in regards to weekly hours spent, right? Because there's a bunch of people that didn't even watch it because they were just busy with life stuff. And New Year's Eve for a lot of people, if you're planning on doing stuff or going out with friends, like, you're hoping that you catch up, but then we got another episode dropping on Tuesday. So it'll be very interesting to see. Unfortunately, I think that the executives who basically determine if something is successful based off like they're looking through an Excel spreadsheet, it'll be frustrating if we don't get some level of this crew back together again, because I think what they have made here is very magical in terms of it hits multiple people in the right way. And I think it's really awesome to see. So I'm just kind of saying, like, Disney seems to not be afraid to spend money. They just have to know what they're getting out of it. And I think that was.
What are some other factors you could think of? Like, think about the showrunners of this versus Leslie Headland. You know, like, they have more gravitas. What's his face from Andor? More gravitas than Leslie Headland. You know, like, I feel like that comes into play too, where it's like, we can't really cancel it because those are proven people, like in in the Marvel space for this show, and just overall in a different space in cinema with Andor, and Leslie Headland's just like more up and coming. So it's kind of like cut the young person kind of thing, you know. On top of it being expensive, on top of it just not performing, getting bad, not good reviews anywhere. It's like, I think that it's still the Wild West out there as far as all this stuff goes. So if you have a good crew, you have Favreau and Filoni on this one, like there's a lot going for it. I am interested to see how it's streaming though, just because it seems positive, but also just less coverage in general, like online, so it's a weird time out there, I think everything is suffering somehow. I don't know what anyone's doing, but it's entertainment is suffering.
Sure.
The other factors to consider with the Acolyte, for the general public, it's a standalone story, and they did wrap it up in a way that you can end a movie like that with a cliffhanger like that, and that's just the end. You never make another movie. Period. It was a satisfying ending to me. They didn't cut it off mid-season. It wasn't canceled in that sense. They didn't go forward with plans to make more seasons, right? But they didn't cancel the show mid-season like we used to get in the before times, before streaming, when a show would be like right in the middle and they'd still be making, they'd be like, nope, it's 9 episodes, and they just cut it off. So
show's canceled. Here's ER.
Right. So we got an ending, and they were probably thinking, okay, we ended that show. It's okay to cut that. But Andor, like, we have to get up to Rogue One. Rogue One, that is like the fan favorite. Like you said, Nick, like the people involved, the writers, the writing team and everyone involved, it's just like, it's on such a level. And to end it there and not bring us right up to Rogue One, they're figuring, okay, this is a safer bet. This is a thing that people want and need. If we're talking about like how to manage fan expectations and blowback and all this kind of shit, even if it would make financial sense, if you're being ruthless with the Excel sheet to cut off Andor, that's not going to do them any favors.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a beloved thing. They got to get to a certain point in the story, so they're going to do that. This one, they could, if the return isn't enough, just say, oh, we'll put it on hold for now.
Right.
We'll bring these kids back later at some point.
Right. Well,
I hope that doesn't happen.
I agree. I think we have to look at it from this as we're wrapping up here. We have to look at also as Mandalorian and Grogu season 2. I'm sorry, Ahsoka season 2 is in pre-production right now. That's going to be filmed overseas, which is a huge blow for a lot of people in Manhattan Beach Studios. And I wish it wasn't the case, but what's crazy that a lot of people don't realize is Skeleton Crew and Mando season 3 were being shot at the same time. Like, you were talking like these crews were stretched incredibly thin. And once Andor is probably going to drop in April, most likely the first 2 episodes like they did at Celebration, that kicks us off into 12 episodes, because I think each arc is 3 episodes with covering basically 3 years each, right? So at that point, we don't have any Star Wars TV for a long time, besides the movie. And so we
Visions, like there's going to be stuff like that, I would assume.
But in terms of shaping up this universe, in terms of shaping up how we've seen this, I mean, there is going to be a void for a long time. I mean, the fact that the Mandalorian Grogu movie doesn't come out till 2025 is pretty crazy. There is a chance, sure, it could be moved up to December if they want to. I don't think it's going to happen, but when you think about it from the standpoint,
it comes out when?
2026, isn't it?
26. It does.
No, you said 5. Okay, got it.
So there's a small chance that they could move it up to December 25, but I think the plan right now is that it's supposed to sit around May to do this big blockbuster like they used to be.
Classic, yeah.
Which, in my opinion, Star Wars is around Christmas now. That's what I'm used to. So I think we're in a weird spot where there were some people that were saying we're burned out on Star Wars. We need Star Wars to take a chill pill. Well, you're about to get a chill pill for sure, because after this show is over, there's 3 episodes left. We're going to get Andor, and then there's a movie coming and another series being filmed. We're kind of done with live action Star Wars for a long time, or big gaps in between. I don't know. I
think we're going to get an animation announcement quickly, and I think it's going to be Visions, like you said, Nick, or another Filoni project. We could get another Tales of something. We could get some kind of Omega spinoff. We could get some other clones related thing.
I mean, but think about that from that standpoint, Adam. That's a hard sell for a lot of fresh people. Like an Omega spinoff of a spinoff from the Clone Wars. Like, you're still hoping these animated Star Wars fans are hanging on, because that is
who knows how likely it is, and what the pitch is, and what the response is in the room when you're talking financials. But it seems like the way they've been dropping the animated stuff more quickly with less fanfare, and it just it runs like it runs. It's got to be drastically cheaper. That pipeline has to be, I don't know, we'll see if we can talk to somebody who's relatively closely enough involved that we can get some insight on that. But it seems like, I don't know, it's kind of like a why not thing in a way.
Sure.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe I don't know shit, but it just seems like they're a little more liberal with, yeah, Dave, go ahead. Yeah, give us another 8 episodes of whatever you think is cool in animation.
Sure. Yeah, it's interesting. I just wanted to talk about it because I think we're starting to get I think we're going to start getting an insight of like what's going to happen next year, right? I think they're still very much promoting Skeleton Crew, getting through the holidays, fresh start, then Andor's coming up. I think we're going to get some announcements as what people can start to expect, because again, it's not just Star Wars, it's Disney doing shareholder stuff, and we know how terrible that can go, and we also know how excited that can make us. So I'm like, I'm interested. I'm here for it. Tell us.
We're also still waiting on an update on what's the game, the open world game. That we got that teaser for like a year ago now.
Which
the
game?
other one?
Eclipse.
Oh,
that's I will.
Is it dead?
I will.
What do you know? Tell us what you know.
Well, I'm just saying like that. I think that was more trying to. I think that was more so trying to sell. I actually think that was longer than a year ago. I actually think that was like 2 or 3 years ago. I think that was more so trying to sell investors on. I want to say investing in the studio.
The game studio.
Yeah. Because I mean, there's been absolutely zero movement. There was a Knights of the Old Republic remake that still hasn't been done. That had the Revan, where Revan like lit up both lightsabers. You remember that?
Yeah.
It was like that still hasn't done. So I'm like, I don't know. The state of gaming
also take forever. So who knows?
They do. I mean, we know that Fallen Order 3 is coming out. Outlaws.
Oh, Jesus.
In
the Patreon chat, Eclipse was announced with Andor's first trailer. Whoa.
I feel old. I'm getting so old. So anyways, I think we're gonna start getting some announcements here, and we're almost there. We're almost into the year of Japan, and I'm very excited to go. So
same.
Let's go.
Let's go to Japan soon. Good plan. All right.
Hey, Mike, show me your sweatshirt real quick.
Oh yeah, you guys saw this? I made a couple little pieces for our dudes over at Roosevelt's, and this is one of them. Look at me, wearing my own stuff.
I'm crossing the streams right now.
Look at the deeds.
Extra crossing the streams because I'm referencing neither Star Wars nor what this is by saying crossing the streams. This is Back to the Future hoodie right here.
That's sick.
Good.
A little hoverboard.
Nick, do you have your new Roosevelt's on? This collection was
sure do.
Good.
That's what I'm wearing right now. This Rebels actual fleece hoodie.
You gotta move it. You have to move it from behind your name tag. There you go.
Nice.
Forgot about the name tag.
This was a great collection for people that get cold.
Well, it's also fun to get for them to, I'm sure, do something a little different, to actually do fleece. I know they've been doing flannel and stuff like that, but actual fleece sweatshirt, hooded sweatshirt, socks. Those socks are great.
I'm wearing the socks right now. Look at this.
Wait, what? Let me see. I'm gonna take my sock off and show the people.
Sock is great.
Smell-o-vision.
Death Star on one, and then an X-wing on the other.
Yeah, awesome.
They're
great. They're comfy. I like it.
Very good socks. All right, let's. We don't have an after show segment from last week to read from the patrons, but the bonus segment this week from the chat pack in the category of the Galaxy will be: if you were a kid, would you rather go to summer camp on Kashyyyk with the Wookiees or Andor with the Ewoks, and why?
That's fun.
I like that one. So we'll talk about that in the bonus segment for patrons, patreon.com/ThinkTheMakerPod. If you want to check out that and get an ad-free version of the podcast, merch, all kinds of good stuff, go check it out. Next week will come sooner than usual because we're late because Christmas. I'm excited.
Yeah. And don't forget Mosh Isley, February 7th in Orlando. Tickets on sale now.
Buy them on the internet. Everybody, thanks for hanging. Thanks for being here with us. And until next week, may the Force be with you. If you enjoy Thank the Maker, you can support us by following and leaving a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Or you can support us directly at patreon.com/thankthemakerpod, where you can get access to our Discord server, exclusive content, exclusive merch, our recording live stream, and more. Our patrons quite literally make Thank the Maker possible.